Hello, and welcome to Tom Myers versus the rest of the world. This is our Best of and Unheard Bits 2022, so far, Part 3. In this episode, you will hear some of our favorite moments, plus some bits that didn't quite make the initial airings. Joining me tonight are Jeff Hyson, Michelle Wojciechowski, Gina Brown, Devine Kerr, Chip Jones, Ward Morrow, Mike Quinlan, Davin Rosenblatt, and Alexa Shuto. As we're recording this episode, Florida is taking a direct hit from Hurricane Ian. We do hope that everyone stays safe and is okay, and Florida officials are doing everything they can to protect the residents from the storm because they're afraid of competition when it comes to destroying the state. It made landfall just shy of being a Category 5 storm, and in less than 24 hours, it's expected to go back down to a Category 1, which just goes to show that Florida will suck the energy and sense of purpose out of anything. At last check, cases of monkeypox infections are on a downward trend. Scientists say the monkeypox virus has the transmission rate of less than one person. That's a stupid way of putting it. How does that even work? Damn it, my left arm has monkeypox, but my right leg is in great shape. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley wrote a book and started promoting it. The book is called Manhood. I thought selling your manhood was a prerequisite for joining the Trump caucus in Congress. So much for keeping the gender you were assigned at birth. A teenager named Olivia Juliana raised $2 million online after being cyberbullied by Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz. Hopefully, it won't be the only time a teenage girl gets back at Matt Gaetz for trying to fuck her. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy says he is on a mission to protect women's sports. Of course, Kevin McCarthy is in favor of anything where large groups of women are told what to do. The Trump campaign agreed to stop playing the QAnon music during his rallies at the request of the song's composer. Only in the United States would we produce fascists who back away from a fight with copyright infringement. Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady and his wife, model Gisele Bündchen, have each reportedly hired their own divorce attorneys. It's not expected to affect Tom Brady's career at all, as he's planning to date younger and younger models so he can drink their blood and thus get another Super Bowl ring at the age of 92. I should say, for legal reasons, Tom Brady's not planning on doing that, to the best of my knowledge. Former Congresswoman and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard released a video saying the Democratic Party no longer represents what she believes. In other words, we record this podcast on a Wednesday, it goes out on a Thursday, and my Patreon subscribers are lucky enough to know whether or not I wear pants when I record these. My Pillow CEO Mike Lindell said his phone was confiscated by the FBI in a Hardee's parking lot. Those weren't FBI agents, Mike. Those were muggers. I'm not surprised that Mike Lindell eats at Hardee's. He has a habit of swallowing any shit that's handed to him. On Newsmax, anchor Eric Bolling went on a meltdown over the Scooby-Doo character Velma being gay. Hey, Eric, even if she wasn't a cartoon, you wouldn't stand a fucking chance with her even if she was straight. He probably wouldn't go for Velma anyway because as a Newsmax anchor, Eric Bolling is against people who fight ghosts because the ghosts are the ones wearing the white hoods. Maryland is expected to get a new area code next year. The only people upset about this are the residents in some of the state's rural communities because they want an area code that's 3Ks. The January 6th House Committee voted unanimously to subpoena Donald Trump to testify. They don't need a subpoena. They just need to lure him there with a McDonald's value meal. And for good measure, make sure it's scented with Ivanka's perfume. In the final weeks of the midterm election season, there's a lot of debates going on. They're happening all over the country. I watched the Senate debate in Georgia between Senator Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. I also read the live comments on YouTube, which is interesting. One of them said, Herschel Walker is a great conservative. And given the amount of brain damage he must have suffered playing football, I agree. An old video surfaced of now Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz claiming that medical students were required to taste different types of urine. And in response, just about every doctor on Twitter came out and said, no, that doesn't happen. It's not true. Medical students are not required to taste urine. To which Dr. Oz responded, now they tell me. There was some focus placed on the defendants of the attack on the Capitol. Of course, what the commission doesn't cover, right-wing networks are all too willing to do, as Newsmax demonstrates in this phone interview with one of the January 6th defendants.
That is Ryan Nichols, seen on January 6th. A protester. He served in the Marine Corps, by the way, honorably discharged after 4 years, but right now he's in a lot of trouble. He was arrested in January 18th in Texas. He's been in the D.C. jail now for a long time, and he actually joins us from the phone right now. Let's talk about what's happening right now. Do me a favor. Tell us where you are right now. Set the scene. You're on phone, in jail. Where? How does it work? What's going on? Where you are right now?
Right now, I am in what I'd like to refer to as DC Gitmo, but we're in the DC DOC Correctional Facility, and I can only describe it as psychologically damaging, torturous, and inhumane here. Solitary confinement for anywhere between 18 and 26 hours per day.
26? He gets 2 extra hours?
Where they finally gave us a little bit more time out of our cells.
26?
Yeah, I mean, it was... Well, we pointed out how Stuart Rhodes wasn't the brightest bulb in the bunch. In one way, this guy thinks there's 26 or 30 hours in a day. And by definition, one of the characteristics of being a January 6th defendant is that clearly they don't comprehend math that well.
Or consequences. When you break the law, you go to jail. And sometimes it's inhumane.
It's awful here. Boo-hoo.
I know.
Oh, shit, that's what jail's like.
What did he call it?
DC.
DC.
You go to jail and they're like, oh, what would you like off the menu today, sir?
DC Gitmo, he called it. Only a former Marine would say that. Jeez.
I should say that later on in this interview, they went ahead and replayed a clip where he rescued dogs during a flood down in Texas, I think, wherever this was. And then he appeared on the Ellen show as a result of that. And I'm like given all the whispers, everything that's come out about Ellen recently, maybe she's not the best person to bolster your case right now.
Also, we're all a mix of good and bad, but when you do something bad, just because one time at some point you did something good doesn't mean you're exonerated. Right. You still did a bad thing.
Right. If he rescues all these dogs and then comes home and kills his whole family,
exactly,
he's still going to jail
because he's a murderer. Right.
I mean, come on. It all depends on how horrible his family was. But no. You don't know the Quinlans. You really don't know the Quinlans. I've gone to 23andMe hoping to be finding out I was adopted. No, but yeah. You're right about that, though. But there's a lot of people. That's the funny part about Trump, though, is actually I'm from Philadelphia, and I remember beginning his shenanigans with all the casinos down in Atlantic City, and he's always been a jerk off. He's always been a predator, and I don't mean a sexual predator. I'm not talking about that, but he's always been predatory in his business dealings. Yeah. He's always been predatory in any relationships he's had. And if it wasn't for that one freaking jerk off with that stupid Apprentice show, none of this garbage would have ever happened. He was on the trash heap of history. Who was that? What's that guy's name who produced that? Didn't he produce he's a big time?
Oh,
Mark somebody. He did Survivor too.
Yeah, that was that all horribles. Yeah, it's if it wasn't for that stupid television show and people getting excited about watching somebody being a rude buffoon. I mean, if there's nothing, that says America right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from upstate New York, and I mean, he definitely did some damage in New York. Like, he wasn't a nice
It's funny.
person.
I walked by Trump Tower last week. I was up in New York City doing some stuff. I looked up. I was like, but I mean, it's not really that big a deal.
Oh, he's.
You know what? I guess I should have gone inside to see what it's like. Have you ever been inside Trump Tower? I've never been in there.
Oh, hell no.
But no, I hear you. That's exactly why I didn't go in. But I was like, I should have went in, like shit on the floor or something like that.
Right. I mean, yeah, there would be.
Well, except for the fact that a normal human being was going to have to clean it up, and that
Right.
respectful. So,
Mark Burnett was the name of the
Yes.
of the producer. Yep. And
that's the guy. He's the guy who should have to clean the shit up on the floor.
And then it's interesting. You talk about how the casinos in Atlantic City,
Hated the guy.
everything from upstate New York. Yeah, like my cousin he was involved in some stuff where he was up in New York, like something for his work, or no, his wife at the time was involved in some kind of real estate things and was involved in New York. And my cousin, he was one of these super like Trump people. Like he could do absolutely nothing wrong. He's going to change everything that's wrong with the country. And he would say, "Oh, but I've met him and talked with him. He's a good guy, really knows his stuff." And I used to tell my cousin, like, "Look, he's a con man. Like that's what they do. They go ahead and prey upon your lack of ability to go ahead and see through bullshit." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt in that, right? But the crazy part about it though is, if I remember correctly, he was always screwing over the unions on the construction jobs. And there's a lot of guys wearing those red hats on those union sites. And you're like, no, dude, he beat your dude 25 years ago, didn't want to pay a living wage. And now just because I'm not, you know what, is he even really a racist or just an opportunist? Because I'm not even, some of his language is complete garbage and bullshit. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not even really sure that he's committed to being a racist. He's just like, I need as much stupid money as I can get.
Oh, he's committed. I think
he's definitely committed. But does he really believe it?
Well, I think I agree that he's an opportunist, but I also agree that
he's a piece of shit.
It brings in the racist because it crosses over. That's why it doesn't matter whether you do it under the Christian heading, because it's really the racist thread that's kind of keeping you there.
I agree with you. And I agree. And that's the thing about being frustrated with the Democrats, right? Like, I'm frustrated. You're underserving your constituents. And some of it's because it's just inefficiency. Some of it's malfeasance. Some of it's whatever. But I'm not willing to side with a bunch of racists because I don't agree with this. Let's find a different answer. The two-party system's garbage. It's not working. It just isn't working for us.
Well, it might not be, but the challenge is, and I think that's what earlier you had talked about Bernie. I think that's what scared people, is that we're not ready to just follow this sort of independent thing yet. So while it is scary, it's a vote for the Trumpism if you don't fall in line right now with the two-party. It's just all we have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's completely binary. You're right. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah.
It's not just the media, but the supposed deep state that takes a hit from the fringe in the wake of natural disasters, as this nowhere close to informative analysis of storm patterns shows us.
We understand that the deep state, they have weather manipulation technology, they have DARPA, they know how to manipulate and create big storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, climate change, etc. And these huge hurricanes always seem to target red states, red districts, and always at a convenient time, typically right before elections. Or, in this case, possibly because Ron DeSantis has been stepping out of line a lot and fighting the deep state. I don't know, Lauren, the timing is definitely interesting, and they're even saying it. Do you think this could be a weather manipulated hurricane?
Yeah, well, we know the technology does exist. And
Right.
I mean, Deanna, they're literally trying to change people's DNA through vaccination. Of course, they would be willing to do something like this to target red states. I have no doubt. I mean, the technology exists to manipulate weather. And, this whole storm coming, I mean, I know that Florida is prone to hurricanes. However, this developed into a Cat 4 or Cat 5 overnight.
Right.
And it does seem to be hitting the conservative areas of the state. I'm not putting it past the elites to target something like this towards Florida as punishment for getting rid of vaccine mandates or getting rid of child grooming. They are angry with us, and it wouldn't surprise me to find out. And yeah, the technology does exist, but you're not supposed to talk about that or know about that because that's controversial or a conspiracy theory. No, it's true.
Yeah, not supposed to talk about that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Where did you find this? Where did you find this?
Oh my god.
It's just mind blowing.
Like, did you go on the dark web for this? How do you find people this stupid that still have the ability to run a laptop and record themselves?
Oh my god.
You can't outsmart stupid. This is
God knows I try.
Tom, you finally got a clip that made everyone on the panel speechless. This is the worst clip you've ever had, so it may be the best one. Did you see the sub-headline?
I did.
Did you see this? Biden builds subhuman cyborg army using immigrants.
I don't think it was subhuman. I think it was trans something. They worked trans in there.
I don't.
they need to make up their mind because in one hand we're libtards and morons who never says facts, but at the same time we're so brilliant we can target red states and we're manipulating. I mean, if we had that kind of power, wouldn't we have eliminated all these morons a long time ago?
Exactly.
Excellent point. And I'll tell you another thing. I'm tired of the Republicans, the MAGA crowd controlling all the lasers that are targeting California with the fires. I've had enough of them. It's time. It's time the blue states do something, unite, and use our hurricane technology to blow out those forest fires that keep on hitting California. We can't take this anymore. I won't, Tom. I won't.
Davin, that's what we use our Jewish space lasers to.
Here's the problem with a Jewish space laser. Once it breaks, you need an Italian mechanic to fix it. So either way, we're screwed.
And their argument about it only affecting red areas, Davin, you alluded to Sandy before. That was New York and New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. In their defense, Jeff, sometimes it misfires. I mean, we are libtards. No.
Right before an election, so conveniently before an election.
Right. It wouldn't be that it's hurricane season year after year after year after year after year, right?
Unless
they made the Constitution. Have the technology, and they show like a radar dish from 1984. Yeah, that's what we're using.
They did write the Constitution so that the elections would happen around hurricane season. So our founding fathers knew what they were doing.
Exactly.
So smart.
I need to watch a weatherman on Chatterbait after that.
Chatterbait, not beat 'em up. Okay.
Well, now you have
Chatterbait, like you chat and you masturbate. Is that okay?
Very good, Davine. You put that together.
I'm a little slow, but like I almost considered being on the red list.
Oh my God! I give you credit, Tom. That was one hell of a clip you found. That was tremendous. I don't know where you found it, but mwah.
I don't want to know.
The show was called
Chef
Shots
Kiss.
Fired, which is appropriate because I think that's what they had to do to their heads in order to go on the air to talk about that kind of stuff.
What was interesting was that the second person, who obviously is a little mashugana, as we say, to be just work on that show, was expressing skepticism about it.
Well,
was that the pretty blonde lady?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it that way, but yes.
She has.
I did.
She has experience.
Hold on.
She has experience of being skeptical about something because she was the 2020 Republican nominee for U.S. Senate in Delaware.
No.
Really?
Even though she got beaten.
The witch?
Even though she. No. This woman, Lauren, what's her face?
Didn't she have some witch background?
That was Christine O'Donnell. That was back in
that was
2010.
another
That
one.
was when they were just dabbling in crazy. They're full on crazy now.
But no, this woman that was shown on here, Lauren, she was the she knows something about skepticism because when she lost her Senate race, it was Delaware. It's a blue state. There was no way in hell she was going to win, but she was still insisting the election was stolen. So, I mean, she was doing the right 2020 Republican Party playbook. She had that thing going.
I got to tell you, I've been in a lot of softball championship games. I only got one title out of it. I think all the others were rigged. I'm very skeptical about the results. I have to tell you.
The Cincinnati FBI field office shooter posted on his Truth Social page, "Be an American, not a steer. The steer is the animal that they kill to make a hamburger. The hamburger is the most grilled meat in this country. Hell, if bald eagles weren't revered and protected, Trump supporters would be grilling those. If enough Trump supporters get killed this way, then Republicans may change their mind and actually want dead people to vote." In this video, a Twitter user mocks the dedication Trump supporters demonstrate.
What's up, fellow patriots? It's me, MAGA Man 62. And I've been challenged by Groiper Dave and Benghazi Avenger 89 to do the Donald J. Trump challenge, which entails me driving headfirst into a brick wall of the nearest heavily fortified federal building, then pouring gas on myself, getting out, tasing myself in the balls, which it will ignite the gasoline, and then falling down into a puddle of my own piss, shit, and blood and fire, and then doing snow angels until the authorities show up and shoot me in the face. And I'm doing all this to protest the unfair treatment of our last and one and only true president of the United States, Donald John Trump. All right, let's roll.
I have to say, just mad props to that guy. And, you know, he's a Twitter follower of mine, at Elron Mexico. And I mean, he has a lot of stuff on that feed that's just absolute.
That's hilarious.
That guy, for a second, you thought it was real. I like the names of his fake followers there. His challenge, Benghazi Avenger.
I don't know if anyone else noticed this, or maybe it's just me. The cadence, the manner in which he spoke, it reminded me a lot of Mitch Hedberg, the late great Mitch Hedberg.
Like maybe if he did crystal meth, like that,
and turn his back to the camera, you know, because he was too shy to face the audience. But it's funny because it's true. Oh yeah, he's my hero.
Who, this guy on Twitter I just brought up?
No, Mitch.
Oh, I'm getting ready to say, I mean, I used to like Mitch, but now I like this guy. I mean,
that guy's pretty funny. That was funny.
At Elron Mexico.
It's funny because it's true. They are that devoted and blindly sheeps. It's insane, you know. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau can't even get respected. Did you hear he was singing Bohemian Rhapsody on the day of the Queen's funeral, and he got so much shit for that?
Who was?
Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. He sang a Queen song on the day of the Queen's funeral, and now everyone's giving him backlash. But Donald Trump gets away with stealing. It makes no sense to me. Like,
I would have thought he would have sang like "God Save the Queen." She ain't no human being by the Sex Pistols, because on that day, technically, she wasn't a human being anymore.
Oh, Tom.
Goodness.
As Americans, we are all too ready to show off how skilled we are at using firearms, as this YouTuber woodsman shows us.
Hickok 45 here. We're going to do another woods walk with one of our favorite rounds, one of your favorite rounds, 7.62 by 51. It's just that you probably don't shoot many of your 308s or 7.62 by 51s through an M60. Well, thanks to Royal Range USA of Nashville, we happen to have one today, and I think it might prove pretty effective in a woods walk, okay? So it's very humid, it's been raining, so it's just a great environment for this. So let's see if we can make it through here and survive the evil 2-liters. You want to come with me? You don't have to, but come along if you want to. I'm going to see what I can find.
I appreciate that he checked.
See if I can find the enemy out here. There's one right away. Right away. All right. All right.
Jesus fucking Christ.
They're out here. You never know where they're hiding. There's one behind that wood pile. Oh, yes. I can shoot right through rotten wood, no problem. So humid. You know, this really takes me back to my own Vietnam experience. Sitting on the couch, watching the Ken Burns documentary on Vietnam, eating Cheetos. That was pretty much my Vietnam experience. All right, I know you're out here. Where are you? That one? No. We're clear. Maybe there's none out here.
I mean, it's like when that guy says, "Oh, you never know where they're hiding." Like that's
right.
one of the lamest lines ever. Like they're hiding where you hid them. Like that's the mercenary equivalent of doing the got your nose thing. To
He's an old guy. He's Grambo. He's Grambo. That's who he is. He's
Okay. So who the fuck is getting nostalgic for Vietnam?
Right. I think it's PTSD.
Like, all this takes me back to the Vietnam days, the time that I loved so much. Like people have fucking PTSD over that, dude. Like, what? Right. Back to the Vietnam day.
I think this is PTSD. I think he thinks he's there.
But he wasn't there. That's the whole thing. He watched it on a couch. I mean, this is
eating Cheetos.
This is cosplay. Okay. This is cosplay. And here's the thing too, with a gun like that. Like I said, it's no longer about the sportsmanship of hunt. If you're hunting with something like that, hunting is not your skill, you know, because if you're trying to shoot a deer or something like that, you're gonna wind up with nothing.
He barely hit the soda bottles. I mean, at best, he can barely protect us against diabetes. Right. Like that's what that video demonstrates.
That all felt very compensatory. I
agree with you. I agree with you there, Alexa. In fact, he talked about rotten wood, and I think that gets to the problem.
There we go. See, you could kill somebody with a little handgun. Like size doesn't matter. It's as long as it shoots.
This is hillbilly LARP, is what it is.
Ugh. I'm sick.
Yeehaw.
But before we go, a quick final thought. People often think that when they hear me on a stage or on this podcast, or when they read any of my social media feeds or comments, that I'm punching down. They even assume that somehow that makes me a bigot or a racist. Well, nothing could be further from the truth, for no matter what race, creed, color, or place of origin, you'll find that I hate everybody equally. In fact, recently, in the span of 24 hours, I was called a quote-unquote woke pussy and a quote-unquote misogynistic asshole. You know what that means? By pissing off both sides, I'm basically the closest that anyone can get to perfection. My detractors will often say that I don't care about the impact that my material has or my responses have on them. If you ever ask if I would celebrate if something unfortunate or tragic happened to one of these nameless wonders, then I will tell you no. I won't celebrate. In fact, I just won't care. Good night. This episode was written and hosted by Tom Myers with panelists Jeff Heisen, Michelle Wojciechowski, Gina Brown, Devine Kerr, Chip Jones, Ward Morrow, Mike Quinlan, Davin Rosenblatt, and Alexa Shuto. Theme music composed and arranged by Jeroen Vandenberg. Executive producers Tom Myers, Matt Connarton for ipmNation, and Eddie Carson for Odyssey Radio. Please leave a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple Podcasts. And don't forget to subscribe to our podcast's Patreon for extended episodes, bonus clips, and more. Thank you for listening, and please visit tommyers.us.